And all these classes are extensively Blackboard supported. So I'll take y'all up to the Blackboard site and show y'all. You might not have access to it yet because of the schedule change. And what they're going to have to do, they just can't move a class from T1 to T2. And what they have to do is cancel the T2 class and then add the T1 class. So while that's in fluid, you might have a little problem accessing it. Y'all can access it now because it's available. So the name of this class is System Diagnostic and Troubleshooting. So we teach in this class, we teach a lot of things, and we'll look at the syllabus in a minute. Now the syllabus, we don't print those off anymore. We put them on the Blackboard site. That's why the Blackboard site is so important. And one of the reasons we do that, of course, is just the quantity of the paper the college would have to use just to run off all those syllabus every semester. So it saves the college a ton of money. But what we do is we give out a syllabus brief. So this is the website. This is basically all our certifications that we have available to you. NSSC, we'll look at that some later on. NSSC costs quite a bit to take the certification exam, but the state has gave us a grant, so over a certain amount of time, y'all can actually get that free. And if you do take the safety class, then that would be one of the things that y'all would be able to do is to get that certification. Siemens Mechatronics System Certification Program is sponsored by Siemens. This is an international certification program, and we offer 2 levels of certification. We offer the level 1 certification, which is basically a short certificate in mechatronics, and then a level 2 certification, which is an associate's degree level certificate. This costs about $150 per level. What we'll be getting this semester in this class is we'll be getting 3 National Coalition of Certification Centers, which the college is a member of. And what's nice about that is we pay a membership due for that every year, so your certifications are free. What we'll do in there is we'll get the meter certification, which I think, Jerry, you said it on part of that, didn't you? Well, what I'll do it this semester, we'll get y'all this meter certification. ETA, this is a associate level certification, Electronic Technician Association. They give a certified CET, they call it a CET certification that they provide. Once you finish the degree, you should be able to qualify for this guide. If you're in industrial electronics, if you have an AUT degree, then these would be the guides that you would look at. Okay, does that make sense? Okay? But if you're in industrial electronics, this would be the certification together. This is an electronic certification. This is a system of manufacturing certification. Inside here, of course, we have, this is where the announcements, the course calendar, which is still under development. But I think we've already got the holidays and everything on this already. I'll have to drop this off, by the way. It's got all my classes on there right now. And I'll try to do that in a minute. This is what's very important right here. This is the first week and course information. So this is what we want to do during the first week. And what we have, of course, here's the course syllabus. So this is actually where the official syllabus would be at. And then here's the brief, which is what y'all have in your hand. What the brief does, instead of having to upload the syllabus every semester, what we do is we just change the brief. And what we do, since we can't give out the syllabus anymore, instead of printing off that 7-page document, we give out a brief that would give you all the information you need to get your books, and it's got the contact information and all that kind of stuff. This is actually part of the syllabus. So this is part of the official syllabus, and some of the information in the syllabus will be on. And of course, it says you're required to read the official course syllabus. This gives us the. Oops, this is golly, guys, it didn't upload. That's the wrong one. I thought I had that done. You have the right one, right? Don't it have this? Oh, it does? Okay. So that's not even the right one either. So the actual meeting dates, so I'll change that, is going to meet from the 21st until October 13th. Which is the day to October the 13th. And they should be moving it right, so that's what it is. That's what I got on there. So undoubtedly I didn't change it. We made these changes, by the way, Friday. Friday was a hectic day. Everybody got their solar eclipse glasses. No. We bought ours long. We'll go through October the 13th. Y'all need to make that correct. This is my contact information. Of course, you can access the email through the platform site. There's my phone number. Your alternate contact can get in contact with me with Mr. Sanders. He probably cannot answer questions specifically for the class, but he can answer information about the program. That makes sense. There's no textbook in this class, but you are required to have your safety glasses beside you. You sell them in the bookstore. They also sell them in all the trade schools. You need to have a digital multimeter, category 3 digital multimeter. That's required for the program. So if you hadn't had it yet, you need to go ahead and look at getting that, right? I think everyone knows already got that. Need a scientific calculator, need a flash drive. Not necessarily for the class, but all the documents that we use in class are on Blackboard. And if you want a copy of them, then this would be what you would use. You need a notebook or desktop computer, internet access, of course, those standard supplies. Says you're required to read, of course, the syllabus brief, which we're going over right now, the syllabus, dress code, safety, evacuation procedures, the rest of the campus. Take the online quizzes and submit the brief. The syllabus brief that must be submitted before what? Before Wednesday. Everybody understand that? And this is done online. If you don't complete this, of course, if you don't agree with the syllabus, then basically you can't take the class. Everybody understand that? So you need to look over the syllabus, because this is our contract between each other. I say, okay, this is what we're going to do in the class, right? You understand that? And you say, okay, I understand and agree with it. So we do, basically, it's just like people think when they go out and buy software or they download an application, that application is there. Your applications for your phone is only there if you write them. Everybody understand that? So you don't own the software. So a lot of times before you can actually use it, we call it a EULA, an in-use and license agreement, where it'll pop up and say, do you agree to this? And that's what you're saying. You say, I agree with that. And that's basically you're doing the same thing here. Of course, this is on Blackboard. Under that first week, we'll show y'all that. Plus, we give a syllabus quiz. I got this, by the way. This is by fault. I got this from when I took a college class where the instructor gave out a syllabus, and then the next class he gave a quiz. But he didn't tell us he was giving a quiz. So that was very interesting. Luckily, we'd known people that had taken the class before, and they said, you better read that syllabus. A lot of people just do And then most of this other stuff, due before the second class, everybody okay on Blackboard? You can access Blackboard, everybody okay? Everybody okay? Everybody know how to get to Blackboard? So what I'm going to do is just go back to Blackboard now and look at the rest of the site. Yes, ma'am. No, this is for you. Using a laptop in this class is okay. You can't use your laptop when you have a test. So we have a bunch of laptops over here. A lot of people are bringing them into class, and that's fine. What we're doing is this is for home. So you got to have a computer. You got to have access to the internet. By the way, it'd be hard to do on a cell phone, all right. But if you got a tablet or something like that, there's a free Blackboard application that you can download and you can use to access your site. Once you declare a license state, then it'll automatically run your courses in too. So, if you don't have a laptop, so a lot of people now are going to tablets, but it'd be hard to do on my smartphone. I got an i5. I mean, I've got a Apple 5, which still has a small screen. Now people they're getting phones that have huge displays on. My granddaughter's got one. She's got a hole like this, and it's her cell phone. But no, we have computers available in the class, and if you want to use one of these will be fine. But these will be the ones we'll use to take the test anyway. But this is the actual official syllabus, and what you can see is we just knocked off the very first part, which is included on the brief. But this is the course syllabus. So there's the description of the course, and of course the first few things it says what? See syllabus 3, see syllabus 3. Course description. Then this is the required supplies, but what we do, since instead of printing the syllabus off, we put that on the brief, right? So that brief you can carry with you to the bookstore, out to wherever you buy your parts from. This is what we're going to be doing. Okay, so this is just a checklist that says when we do it. This is the way you're graded. So just completing the first week assignments and quizzes, that's 50% of your grade. It don't sound like much, but some of it's required. The syllabus agreement is required. You don't have to take the syllabus quiz, but I highly recommend you do because it's 2% of the grade. Then we have 3 tests during the semester. During the term. You can look, this explains it in a lot more detail. What we do is we give you 3 tests. This is an 8-week term. It's a mini term. And so what we do is we don't have makeup tests in these classes. Because the way our test goes, if we give a test, the next class we go over the test. And we can't go over the test if we have somebody that hadn't taken the test. That makes sense. But we do understand that things happen. And so what we do is we drop of these 3 tests, we drop your lowest test score. So that means if you're absent on the day of the test, and we're going to give you the schedule that's going to be up there on Blackboard saying, okay, we're going to have test 3, so you can go ahead and start looking and planning your schedule around those tests. And if you have to be absent, then that will count as your lowest test score. Okay, everybody understand that? Assignments and homework are 13% of your grade, so we have assignments and homework we're going to have during the class. Labs are 35% of your grade, so we can see labs are pretty heavy. This is a very lab-intensive class. Then just having the required supplies is 35%. The final exam itself, no way is exempt from the final exam. What we do this is the final exam is just a really good review before you move on. Everybody understand that? So this explains the test, which I just gave y'all. First week quizzes and examinations, that's on the syllabus brief. We've already talked about that. The assignments are going to have due dates. They will be posted on Blackboard. So if you go to Blackboard, there should already be 2 assignments on there, assignment 1 and assignment 2. And then what we do is assignments are basically worth 50 points to. And what we do is that, and we'll put the due dates up there, and it makes you go look at the calendar. That's something you need to do, and make sure you check the announcements or check your email. Normally when I post an announcement, I make sure Blackboard sends you an email on that announcement. So you got two paths you can go. And there's also a third path that we also use. We use an application called Remind. And when you take the syllabus agreement, it's going to ask you if it's okay if I can use your cell phone. And what I can do is I can actually send you text messages relative to the class also. So normally when I post an important announcement, not only will I send you an email, I'll also send you a text. And it's been shown that 90% of the people look at their text messages and they don't check their what? They don't check their email. So that's your option. That's not required for the course. By the way, so if you see a strange number pop up, I can't remember what it is, like 901 or 8001, that's for me. And I usually start it out until you get used to it saying, this is Rich. And you can text me back. And what's nice about that is nobody in the class sees your cell phone number. I know it, of course, and you don't see mine. So I can text from my cell phone. I can read from my cell phone. So when you text me, it comes to my cell phone. So when you answer or reply to it. So it's three methods right there that we can give you information about the class. But if assignments are not turned in on time, what we do is we take off 10 points for every day it's late. It's worth 50 points. So after 5 days, you basically get a 0, right? Everybody understand? If you make 100 on it. No, she hadn't had before. Well, it's just like a job. Yeah, it's like work. We try to do this a lot like work. We do forms like we would do in work.
It was my fault. Don't really got none of that.
Lab we assign. So while we don't have a lab up here, you can tell this everything here wouldn't have labs with it. So what we do is we give out a lab assignment. But what we do is the lab is not necessarily due on the day you complete it. It's due the next class. So if there's any questions or anything on the lab assignment, that you have until the next class to answer the question. So basically, we don't answer lab questions in class. We let you do those at home. What we do here is we do labs. That makes sense? So we're going to the next lab. That's what it says. Everybody okay there? There's no schedule, and we have no scheduled time for makeup. You're going to be working in a team. One thing you're going to find out when you get out in industry, very seldom are you going to be working by yourself. You're going to be part of a team, even if it's an operator and a technician. And if you can't communicate and you can't work with a team, then you're going to have a big problem working in the manufacturing community. Because almost nobody in manufacturing is a standalone individual. So we're working a team. And what we'll do is, we got 5 people, so we'll only have 2 teams in class. We'll have a team of 3 and a team of 2. But what we'll do is we'll change the teams up during the semester. And that would be like you change shifts, right? You understand? Well, odds are if you change shifts, when we was out at U.S. Steel, we rotated. And everybody was on a different rotation schedule. That means you might work what they call C shift, and this time you might work with this person, and the next time you would be with somebody else. And a lot of companies do that, so you end up with different teams. You know, you might take a vacation, and when you come back, they put you on a different group or a different team. Because when they move somebody into that team, then they work with teams. Basically, this is a system troubleshooting class, by the way. Final exam, no one is exempt from the final exam. Everybody understand that? We do have some instructors, if you make real high on all your grades, then they let you exempt from the final. We don't do it in our class. Lots of state policy is that if you don't make at least a C in the class, you have to repeat class. So we have to make a C to pass the course. Recorded lectures, so that's what I'm doing right now. This will be up there as soon as I upload it. But it says an attempt will be made. This is a technology, and of course, technology gives you problems. The faculty being in professional development, they had all types of problems with the video system there. And that's the problem with technology, is that it's just like when you go out to your car every morning, there's no guarantee it's going to run. You understand that? Because you got technology there. You take for granted, so we take for granted we're going. We don't edit these videos, we upload them just like they are. Sometimes you'll hear me make mistakes and you'll say, did he say that? But, so we don't edit them so they're action class runs, so they're not pre-recorded, so I'm not doing a script, right? Everybody understand that? And we don't edit them for time, accuracy, or content. Sometimes these lectures will not upload. And it's happened more than once, and sometimes it's my fault, but, with computers, a lot of times you have to do everything exactly right. If you don't do it exactly right, you mess up. So if I come up here and try to exit out of this recording, if I don't say no, when a little thing pops up there, you get so used to hitting what? Yes, yes, yes. And those pop-ups will pop up there and you hit yes before you think about it. Well, if I hit yes on that situation, then the whole recording is gone. So, and then sometimes when I upload it, it just gets an error. So don't put all your beans in that. But what's nice about recorded lectures, if there comes a time when you are absent, then you're still responsible for what we did in class that day. Everybody understand that? Lateness, we begin class on time. Course withdrawal, this is another problem that I have almost every semester. I cannot withdraw you from the class. Everybody understand that? Who has to withdraw from the class? You do. Right? You understand? If something happens and you stop coming, then what am I going to do? You don't withdraw from the class. What am I going to do? I'm going to grade you. So if you don't turn in an assignment, you get a what on it? 0. If you don't do a test, you get a what? A 0. And at the end of the semester, you get an L. Everybody understand that? So how do you withdraw? Used to, a long time ago, when a student withdrew from a class, they had to get a piece of paper with a withdrawal slip. And they had to go around to all their teachers, their instructors, and get them to sign that they withdrew. We had problems because sometimes they were part-time instructors and it was only out here. Sometimes, you might be in a hospital bed somewhere and you couldn't do what? You couldn't withdraw from the class. So now it's all online. So you can withdraw from class online. One of my favorite parts on the Lawson State website is this guy right here called what? Quick links. And you're a what? You're a student, right? You understand? Everybody understand that? And of course, you can access your email from here real fast. Okay. But what you see, there's no withdrawal on here. So if you go down here to what? More student links, then this page opens up, and right here in red is what? E-withdrawal. So you can withdraw from the class without what? Without coming in. Everybody okay there? Do y'all understand that? Yeah, but this is where you go for e-withdrawal. Yeah. This is where you go in and hit the e-withdrawal. They was talking about adding a survey back on there. I don't know if they've done it yet or not. Used to, when you withdrew, you had to take a survey, and basically they was asking, why are you withdrawing from the class? If you think you're going to fail the class, what I recommend is you hang in there as long as you possibly can. Because the last day to withdraw and get a W. So what the college is set up, used to when you withdrew from a class, we would have to give you a WP or a WL. WP was withdrawal passing, and WL was withdrew failing. What the policy is now is if you withdraw from the class, you get a W, no matter if you're passing or failing the course. But they have on the college calendar, they have a last day to withdraw. And if you withdraw after the last day to withdraw, then you will be graded in the course. Everybody understand that? If you withdraw before the last day to withdraw, welcome. Welcome.
Oh, welcome.
Sorry. Same as it was when you were here, Brittany. That's Brittany, by the way. I should have introduced you. Brittany is our new instructor. She's taken Mr. Perry's spot. So the last day to withdraw from a T1 class, midterm 1 class, is October the 5th. So if you withdraw before October the 5th, you get a W. If you withdraw after October the 5th, you get a grade. Everybody understand that? So what I usually recommend is that if you think you're having a lot of problems with the class, is to stay in it until the last day of withdrawal. And why? Because I've had people, what they want to withdraw after the first test. They fail the first test and they want to withdraw. But if they withdraw, they get a W, but they still have to come back and retake the program. So they get to the first test and they pass the first test, now they fail the second test because it's new information, right? You understand? But if they set through the whole program, even though they fail, everything is still a repeat. So they're going through the program the second time. So that's what I recommend. It's your call, whatever you need to do. But if something happens and you can't come, you need to go ahead and withdraw from the class as soon as you can. Okay, everybody? If you can't do it, all you have to do is just give somebody your student ID number and they can come in and they can withdraw from the class for you. But anywhere you got a computer, you can withdraw. Everybody okay? That makes sense?
We don't need to do that.
Hope you don't need to do that, but we need to do that because I had a student, he took the same class under me 3 times. And he just stopped coming every time. Well, now he's on suspension. He's on academic suspension. So he's got to stay out a whole year before they even consider him to allow him back into college. Because why? Because he made so many L's. So every time. And then I had a guy last semester decided he didn't want to do this, and he said, "Well, I'm never coming back over there. Why do I'm just?" And I told him, I said, "You can't never say what? Never say never." So what would happen? He just left his classes, and then he came back. He would be on academic probation coming back. If he decided sometimes in the future when he's 50 years old or 60 years old, right, you understand that would still be on his transcript. So he finally withdrew from the class. But even if you don't ever plan on coming back, go ahead and do what? It's not.
Don't ever say never.
Never say never. The good old James Bond film, right? With Sean Connery came back and made one more. Never say never again. The rest of it we're not going to look at in class because you're going to go out and you're going to read the syllabus, right? Everybody okay? There's another thing. There is one more thing I need to discuss, and this is the American with Disabilities, or ADA. An instructor cannot make special arrangements with you without approval of the ADA program at the college. Because we have to treat everybody in class the same unless we have a documented disability. If we have a documented disability that says you need special things to do, then we can probably take care of those. But I'm not doing it. I'm doing it. We're trying to make every opportunity for you to excel in the class, but I can't make special arrangements with a student without having it documented. That makes sense? So we have people come in and say, well, you know, I need extra time to take tests. And I say, well, I don't have any paperwork or a document that says that I have to give you extra time. And so I can't give you extra time without giving one. The whole class extra time. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that? So we have that problem. Of course, cell phones. Children on campus, don't bring your kids on campus. For one thing, while you're on campus, you're insured. While your kids are on campus, they're not. Everybody understand that? Another thing that gets me is people just coming into my class and leaving my class early. That's one of my pet peeves. So if you leave class, if you need to leave class, we don't have excused absences at the college. So you don't need to tell me why you have to leave. Some people tell me, but it really makes no difference, right? If you come up here and say, Rich, is it okay if I leave? I'm going to have to say no. You understand?
Yeah.
Because you can get out here and have a wreck and say, well, Rich let me go early, right? But if you come up and say, Rich, I need to go, then that's your responsibility and it's okay. You know, I'll document the time that you left and then we'll be okay. You come in late, you need to let me know you're here. I do roll at the start of class, and once I get into class, basically I forget everything else. So if you want to get on, if you're not here when I do roll, then I'm going to give you an absence in the class, right? Everybody understand that? And of course, if you get a ton of absences, then what could happen? That could affect if you're on financial aid, it could affect your financial aid. So you'll need to make sure that if you come in late, you need to say, hey, Rich, I'm here. And then that way I'll come back and make sure I give you on roll. So that's the part of the syllabus that we went over that's pretty important. And then, of course, it's your responsibility to come out and read the syllabus. Where's the syllabus at? So it's on Blackboard and where? First week quizzes and course information. So here's our first week quizzes. So you have a syllabus agreement. When's that due? By next class. You have a syllabus quiz that's due before midnight Friday. You have a safety and evacuation quiz that's due by midnight Friday. And then a dress code agreement. In this class, basic dress code is we don't wear shorts, we don't wear sandals in this class. We wear long pants. No synthetic clothing. Everybody understand that? This is it's a manufacturing clothes course. Since we're dealing with moving machines, we don't wear long sleeve shirts when it starts getting cold. Right? Everybody understand that? So anytime you're around a moving machine environment, you're not supposed to wear short sleeve shirts. No jewelry. Okay? Fall off, so no what? No rings. If you have watches, they need to have a rubber band on. Right? No metal watches. Everybody okay? So that's the first week. Website. This is the course content. So this is. You're not in class. Not in. Oh yeah, you can wear them all the time. It's just that anytime you're working around moving machinery, they recommend that you don't wear long sleeve shirts. And why? They didn't call it in. We had an instructor, Mr. Tate. Mr. Tate's probably gone. God rest his soul. Mr. Tate wore ties, and he taught the motor controls class. And Mr. Tate, we had a MG set over there, and Mr. Tate got over and he was leaning over looking at something. Guess what happened? His tie got caught in that MG set. Luckily, Mr. Tate was leaning over and his elbows were locked, and right here in the seam on the tie, it tore off his neck. He could have really been in trouble. Just had a lady killed. What was that at? In Coleman? Got caught in the machine. So, yeah, and that's what you. Some they do, huh? Yeah, you still they wore long sleeve shirts because of the heat. We had people used to wear long handled underwear in the summer. They had one place over at Inslee where when the rails were cooling, they had to come over here and constantly flip the rails over. And they had a machine that would come up and do it, but they realized that it was twisting the rails a little bit, so they went back to a manual method. And them guys would be wearing long, because they'd go those red hot rails, and they would have a little old tool they would stick between the crown and the head of the rail. And it had a real long handle on it, and they'd roll them rails. So they'd cool straighter. So they rolled it while it was cooling. And that job was hot. And if you've never been around molten metal, molten steel, you don't know what heat is. It is. Yeah, fire retardant shirts, those are pretty popular too. Huh? Yeah, they're hot. And my dad worked in the open heart before they went to the blast furnace, to the Q-box over there. And he had tape he put around his glasses. Because if the glass bridge got on his nose, they would burn his nose. He was the guy that went over there and tapped the furnace. Now it's all automated. So yeah, and it all depends on safety rules at the place. So there was a lot of rotating machinery at U.S. Steel too. Course content. So here's our lecture slides. We'll be looking at sorry guys. Here's all the manuals that go with the manufacturing line. So we'll be dealing with these a lot. We have two lines. Odds are we won't be, the Festo line is, and we'll look at both lines here in a minute. We're going to let y'all take a break and see if they got the schedule taken care of. Festo line is not, we're trying to modify the Festo line to make it so we can tear it apart. The Amatro line is a line that can be separated. So what we do is we start off with assigning you a module. Then your group will go over there and work with that module. Then we'll move to another module. Well, what we do is we tear the line apart. We literally, both lines are designed to be taken apart. The problem we have with the Festo line is the pneumatic system. The pneumatic system on there is not designed to split apart. So as soon as we get that taken care of, we've got the parts on order to do that. But the Amatro line should be a class this size. We should be able to do it okay with one line. So what we're doing with the Amatro line, which of course is the line, the newest line that we have. And these are the documents for each section of that line. So it's got 7 stations on there. Of course, we won't be dealing with the robot station, but all the other stations we'll be looking at. So we'll come up, we'll figure out the sequence of operation. One of the first rules you'll find, and these are Rich's rules for troubleshooting, we'll look at this. But one of our first rules of troubleshooting, of course, is understanding how the system operates. If you don't understand how something operates, then you can't fix it, right? If you do, it's by blind luck. When I was a kid, I fixed some stuff that I had no idea how it operated, but it was by luck. So this is a troubleshooting class, and the ultimate goal, of course, is to keep your manufacturing system running. So we'll look at some techniques that we use to figure this out and solve that. And one thing, of course, is to become familiar with the operation of the system, the sequence of operation, which is pretty neat. So you'll look at the sequence. You'll develop sequence charts. So once you got a sequence chart, even if you don't really understand it, if somebody said, okay, this is what's supposed to happen first, this is what's supposed to happen second, this is supposed to happen third, and if they don't do the third thing, then there's something that happened in the what? In the second thing. Does that make sense? And we call them sequence charts and step charts. That one of our first labs will do. And we'll tear the line apart, and you'll be working with your team. And you're going to have to make presentations in this class, by the way. So what you do, the way the labs work is we'll have a lab, and then you'll be working on one section, and then you'll present your findings to the other group, and then the other group will present their findings to you, right? You understand? So these are the documents for that. And then, of course, handouts. I don't know what handouts we have in here right now. The lab procedures we'll look at, a glossary, which we're working on. Understanding the terms or the nomenclatures that's used in your trade is an extremely important part of the trade. If you don't understand the language of the trade, then people right off the bat take for granted that you don't what? You don't know the trade. So when you start going to interviews and stuff like that, and they start asking you specific questions, if you can't teach the trade, speak the language. And of course, the analogy I use is that if you walk into a doctor's office and he tells the nurse, give him about that much. Give him about that much. What are you going to do? Well, I would turn around and walk out. So if the doctor don't know, or he says, oh, Rich is having problems with his thingamajig right here, right? Then what would you do? You would walk out, right? So interviews are becoming very, very, very important because people can lie on resumes, right? You understand, but they can't. You start asking these specific questions to people that know it. You can't usually get by that. So interviews are becoming very, very, very important as part of the hiring process. So there's a glossary, pneumatic symbols. I don't see the electrical symbols on here, but I'll have to give you those. And understanding how to read the diagrams. And of course, what we do in diagrams is we replace the actual physical device with a symbol that represents the physical device. So if you don't understand those symbols, you can't You can't read the diagrams. If you can't read the diagrams, then you can't understand the sequence. If you can't understand the sequence, then you can't fix them. So being able to do that. This is where you can come in right here, and this is where the recorded lectures will be at. In fact, there's probably some up there from last semester. And so, like first class, so this is the last time I taught the class. So these are all the lectures. I need to go take those off because we do these every semester. But they'll be up on YouTube, so you can go up there and search. I think I'm under Rich Raymond. But it gets kind of confusing because up there, it's going to be every course that I'm teaching, right? You understand that? This will take you directly to the videos for that class. Email. So if you want to email one of these students in your class, then you can email the instructor or you can email one of your classmates. Either one. If you send me stuff about this class, don't use some weird email address. Use this link right here. Go to Blackboard and use this to email me. And that way, what happens is your email is sorted into a folder for this class. Everybody, so it don't go into my general email. It goes into a folder for this class, which makes it real easy for me to do that. This is where the test reviews will be at. So we don't review for test in class. We give out a written test review. We'll do that at least the class before we give the test. And in that way, if you got questions relative to the test review, you can ask them. They'll be in this right here. This is where we'll go and take the test. So we'll be using one of these computers in this computer desktop over here to take the test. We'll take the test in class. What we do is, since this is a mini term, we don't take the test and go home. What we do is we'll give the test at the end of class. And in that way, if you finish the test early, you can do what? You can leave. If we gave it at the beginning of class, then what would you have to do? You'd have to hang around until we finish the class up. So on a mini term, every class counts as 2 classes, right? You understand? So we can't give you a test and let you go because we've just sacrificed 2 classes. Everybody understand that? So what we do on test days is we'll start off in the lab. We try not to do any new material on test days. The only test we do different is test 3, because the way it's set up, we'll have test 3 and the final exam will be the next class. So you're not going to have a class between test 3 and the final exam. So what that does is that gives us an opportunity to go over the test before you take the final exam. What we do, though, is the final exam is just questions from the other 3 tests. So what we do is we put the previous test up. And all the tests in these are computer-based tests in this class. So as we go along, what can you do? You can constantly go back and review these tests before. So all the tests in these classes are comprehensive. The only test in this class that's not comprehensive is test 1. Now what that means is we always go back to the first of the term. So test 2 will not only have new material, it'll have material that was on what? Test 1. Test 3 will have, it's a really good study guide for the finals because it goes all the way back to test 1. But there's not all the questions. And what I do on the final exam is I just pull questions off those 3 tests. So you have a copy of the final exam. You just don't know which questions I'm going to do what? I'm going to pick. But all the questions on the final exam come off the other 3 tests. And that's what we do our final exams for. Our final exams is just a good review of what? The whole term. Everybody understand that? So if you fail the final exam, it is your fault. It strictly means you did not what? You did not study. And then help, this help is on this is Blackboard help. Blackboard is pretty easy. Blackboard sites are pretty easy. This is the way all my sites are set up. So okay? So if you take one of my classes, I would be doing the same thing with you, same way I set up all my classes. Everybody okay? Any questions?
I got to exchange the multimeter, so I should get the orange. Last class I got this. And Mr. Foster was telling me that it lacks up.
Oh yeah, if you don't do milk, get it.
So I supposed to be exchanging it, but he kept, he got some of the bigger orange ones in there.
Yeah, I think we were supposed to have them in there. This one won't work because look at the scales.
So I had to use my partner. I didn't want to do that again, so they've been giving me the runaround about it. He said he finally got them in there, so I guess I'd exchange it.
Yeah, I would. They should have the recommended meter over there. I forgot what it is. A Snap-on meter. In fact, I ought to put that on here. If you buy it at the bookstore, if you buy a meter, it's got to be what we call a Category 3 meter. A Category 3 meter would get you all the way up to the panel box. It won't get you on the distribution side. It would be on after your first circuit breaker that's coming. So it's protected there, which would be everything that we do. If you're going to work on the distribution side, then you need to look at what we call a Category 4 meter. And that's one of the first things we're going to lecture on, by the way, is safety. Basically, it doesn't determine. So you have a meter range. You have the maximum range the meter will measure. But the biggest problem is the meter blowing up. And normally what a meter blows up is you get the thing into something happens and you get a surge into the meter. So a category meter rating is is dependent on the amount of surge voltage the meter can handle without giving problems. So a category 3 meter could handle, so if you got a 1,000 volt scale on a category 3 meter, and it's got a surge of 600 volts, that means that meter could handle a surge up to 1,600 volts without having any problem. So that's what the category meter is. It's not the max. It don't give you the maximum range on the meter. It gives you the maximum range, the surge voltage at the meter. That makes sense? This is Brittany LaGrange, by the way. She's our new instructor. So Alfred, I don't know if you have any classes with her this term. So you probably won't get in your classes. So yeah, that meter right there wouldn't even do any good even in the electronic field. Huh?
I did that, like all semester, kept saying, then we ordered it. So financial aid was down, you can't exchange it. Then you told me more to exchange it.
I don't even know who uses that meter right there. I mean, that's not one of our recommended meters. But you need, if you're going to buy it outside, it needs to be at least a category 3 meter. And of course, you can tell the category rating. Usually it's on the package. But what they also do is they put it down on the terminals where you plug in your meter leads at. And you need to have the ability to measure millivolts and milliamps AC and DC. And that's your problem, because when we take AC, in this class right here, the maximum voltage we're going to deal with is 24 volts. It's very, very safe. In motor controls, though, you get all the way up to 208 volts. In AC, the maximum voltage you deal when you take AC is 15 volts. And if you got a meter that only measures its lowest scale is 60 volts, and you measure a voltage drop and it's 100 millivolts, your meter is going to show you 0. And I've seen that before. So I've had people they don't realize if you have voltage on a circuit and the circuit is complete, you are supposed to have a voltage drop across every component in that circuit. And they'll turn these things in, they'll have 0 all the way down the line. And they didn't realize, and that gives you a big concern. So if you measure 0, it either means the power's turned off or there's something wrong with your circuit, right? You understand? So when you wire these circuits up and you measure 0 volts, it means don't put what? Don't put 0 down, because there will be a voltage drop across everything in the circuit. And that's the problem we have. They'll buy these meters that can't measure millivolts, and then they'll put their meter across there and it measures 0, and then they just blindly write down what? 0. We have that happen all the time. So guys, y'all go ahead. Any questions on the syllabus? On the website, on the Blackboard side? Everybody okay there? Okay, y'all take a 10-minute break and we'll see. Everybody know, if you go out here, there's a set of stairs to the left. There's drink machines up there. We let y'all bring drinks in here, but you can't bring food in here. Everybody understand that? The restrooms are down to the right. So if you go to the right and take the first hall, restrooms are there. And there's a water fountain by the restroom.